Hello, everyone, and welcome to another very special edition of, I don't know what this is called, dev stream, behind the scenes, something.
Weekly dev stream?
The weekly developer stream.
Oh, do we have to come up with something catchier?
Yeah. But
okay.
With that, I'm going to be traveling the next 2 weeks, so George will be taking over. So you know what? Now for the next 2 weeks, that you have to come up with something catchier.
I'll brand it my own brand. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
We have just like the name, I'll use it when I get back. And then if I don't, then I don't know what I'll just keep doing. See, like, I don't know what it's called.
Oh, you're going to like it. I guarantee it.
Oh, cool.
Like, we always have this problem too. Like, what do we call the viewers? Like, rivalers? Like, we don't know what to call the players. Let's call it stream.
We call the characters rivals, so we don't call the players rivals.
Well, I know that.
But they could be. Sometimes they feel like our rivals, and sometimes they feel like our friends.
I think some games also call them by the name of the thing. Other games that have rivals in the title that don't, that we won't mention.
Oh, okay, yeah, I don't know any popular games like that.
That are owned by Disney.
Interesting.
Call us Etherians. Okay, only like you, because you're actually high enough rank, Mystery Soul. But I don't know. Everyone else doesn't get that title.
True. Yeah.
Anyway, good morning, everyone, or wherever you are. Europe, East Coast, a little later. Still got my coffee. I think today we're just gonna take general questions and hang out. ABSA just came out, so yeah, we're excited to hear what you guys think about the update and what else is going on this summer.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a little bit of a shorter one. We'll probably stop right at the hour. But
sure.
Yeah, let's do some QA maybe first. Just answer questions about whatever. If there's some stuff, we can share what we can share, and then we can be like, oh, you gotta wait for what we can't. And then maybe, depending on how questions go, we might do some doubles, some online doubles, or we might just leave it up in training. You get to look at the beautiful skins that came out this week.
Yeah, just depending how hard hitting the questions are, because it's hard to seriously answer and even catch the questions if we're also playing. But yeah, I see all chat is now asking what is a rival, because I said that. So it's a great question. I really want to know.
Dude, there was not a question from there, but I will say the craziest voice session I've done so far was with Deborah Wilson. She's awesome. She's like, she did the voiceover for that trailer, and
she's a consummate professional.
Just the questions she's asking about like Aether and the universe in order to get into the headspace to record the lines. It was like, I was like, I need an adult. But she was great, and she's really cool. She's like, she's an actress, She crushes.
Yeah, that's really cool. Do you think we would ever have an announcer? And would we bring her back?
I think,
like when you pick the character, Zataban.
Yeah, I think I'd like to. The thing is, we would have to go back, right? Because when we the funny thing was, we didn't plan on doing that character list, because that session we did with Off-Brand. So we had like the lines, we had some other like pickups, just some ideas for what she could do. If you're paying real close attention, there's like kind of a character tied to her voice. So we had some like pickups of other things, and then the character list was actually Dan from Off-Brand, like kind of at the last minute on the call. It was like, well, we're gonna put the character names up on screen. It's like, let's go through the characters.
Yeah.
So like the only reason she's not the announcer right now is we didn't. We just recorded the 10 at launch, right? So without going back to her, we wouldn't have the ability to do any of the year 1 characters or anything past that. So that's why we don't have one right now.
Yeah, that was just a random one from me for the chat. For all you guys, please ask us your questions. I'm checking checking out both chats here. I'm sure Dad is too. I got them both open. Yeah, drop it here at Rivals of Aether so we can see it. I see one that's asking about how we feel about the Raster rework, even though like they're admitting it's kind of early. You know, it's only been a few days. I think we had Katie on last week, right? So it's been a little bit since Trevor was on, and I know obviously Trevor is tweaking the balance day in and day out. But yeah, are you guys happy with how he ended up?
Yeah, Trevor and I synced up a bit before this patch because there was like just minor adjustments. Overall, pretty happy. I think right now, like, you know, it's funny because like Zetter and Rana were two of the ones that got targeted. I think like how the balance has shaked out, there's just a lot of characters who feel all kind of in the same power grouping. And I would put Raster in that grouping. We got Maple is very strong as well. Orkane's doing some work. We got Zetter still up there. We got Rano still up there. And Raster didn't feel like head and shoulders above even the new one to us. Obviously, could still be optimized. There could still be some stuff, but yeah, I think we're pretty happy with how the updates turned out, where you know we were able to change the play style without completely busting the character open.
Yeah, I think we're in a pretty solid spot for we have Gamel this weekend. We have tournaments this summer, Evo and Supernova and stuff in August. Yeah, we got a lot for Raster. Can we can all see how he plays out as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Raster's a funny one because even I would say like, before the rework, a character that's pretty hard to pilot, still getting good tournament results, but like with the exception of Marlin, not in that upper echelon. I think Marlin could win with any version of Raster. So, even if we go to these tournaments and then Marlin's Raster wins, that's not necessarily indictment for Raster being too strong now, because Marlin was winning with Raster before, and if we nerfed Raster a bunch and Marlin was still playing Raster, Marlin would win with Raster after. So yeah, we're at a stage right now where we're aware that there is a character balance that we're watching, but it's also a lot of the players and who shows up really dictates, especially like that top 8, top 4 grouping of results. It really depends on who shows up and who they're playing.
Right. Yeah, Gamel this weekend has Cake and Marlin, and oh man, I wish I remembered more of the top 10, but at least like the top 2 right now are there, is all I'm saying. So yeah, people are showing up. It'll be interesting to see. We got a lot of character questions on the sequence of characters, and if we're gonna have guest characters, are we still sticking to a schedule of like returning versus new? We talk about it every so often, but nothing's set in stone. So
yeah, I think so a while back there was a video where I was like, it's 2 new and 2 old returning, and one of the new is from the universe and one of the ones is not, and people took that as a schedule. That's more like if you average out all of our characters, that's kind of our goal, because like the reason I was saying it is I didn't want people to think we were just gonna go through all the returning characters right away, right? I think some people would like that and some people wouldn't. Some people are like, when are new characters? Some people are like, when's my main? I play XYZ, like I just want my character back. So that's still our plan, right? Where like that's the cadence, but it doesn't necessarily mean that's the schedule. So it's not like you can predict, because there was this character and this character, the next one's gonna be XYZ. So we're imagine like flipping a coin, right? It's not guaranteeing it, but the chances are, over a long enough time, you're gonna get 50-50, right? But it doesn't necessarily guarantee the next one. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. We have one more character for our year one grouping. We're kind of in our minds like the 4 characters are like kind of a group together. But even schedule wise, again, even in terms of elements, there's like no guarantee, right? It's not like every year is going to have even. It's also at the end of the year, it would never be possible for us to even up the elements anyway, because we launched with 10 characters. So that means at the end of every year, we're going to be off of the, we're not divisible by 4 at the end, right? In the middle of the year, there's a time where we can divide by 4 after the second character comes out. So even that, even like elements, right? Like the past ones don't guarantee which element is going to be. So
yeah, that makes sense. Nomar is asking, are there any plans to have free weekends or some sort of way for people to dip their toes into the game before purchasing, possibly after console and story mode? So it's nice of you to add that, because that gives us a while down the road.
Yeah, no, we've talked about it. We talked about doing it before. It's something that Off-Brand brought up as well as like an marketing opportunity. For us, like one of the reasons we haven't yet is, you know, we still want it to have like more casual appealing features, right? Because we kind of saw like the players we were able to bring in at launch, and then we also saw like the kind of the just how competitive and hardcore, you know, the current offering is. So we just want more stuff, more things to hook in a non-competitive player before doing something like a free weekend. Because right now, the game is kind of built for anyone who knows about competitive platform fighters, right? You have to like be aware of that space. You don't necessarily have to have played them or even like watched a ton of streams, but you have to like know about it, know that these games can be played competitively, and have some interest in that, right? But like our long-term goal is to have, you know, more types of players in, right? Like Rivals 1 through the workshop was able to capture different types of players. I would say Rivals 1 a little bit through the story. I don't think we captured a ton of players through like our lore offerings, but you know, we had story mode, we had abyss mode, we had some other stuff. And then Rivals 1 also a little bit through just casual game modes as well, like Tetherball, I think is a fun mode to kind of expand that. So yeah, we want more features like that before we try to, hook into, you know, more other types of players.
Yeah. Let me see. I'm just like rapid firing them at you. So, you know, let me know if you need a break.
Oh, that's good. I'm reading some of them too, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We got someone asking about Zetterburn, Rano, and Crag getting new voice lines, which I think is interesting. Because we have Mend with the team who has done, we've like shared an awesome interview he's done behind the scenes. He's really involved from Moonsailor and Rezo Force and working like daily on the game, which is cool and a little different from Rivals 1. And he actually goes through all the note board and looks at all the sound stuff. And right, people are right. The newer characters do have more voice lines and more unique things with the skins because they recorded not years ago and we're actually able to plan those out. But any thoughts on new voice lines for older characters, Dan?
Yeah, so if you notice, we have been doing pickups for a lot of characters. Not every character has yet, right? So like some of the skins and stuff have gotten lines. Zetterburn and Rano right now, they were done like super early. Like honestly, the first casting we did was kind of like a test. So right now we're exploring whether we're going to, you know, do more pickups and go back with our voice actor. Who actually, Zetterburn and Rana are currently voiced by the same character. Or, you know, we're also exploring if we're going to be, you know,
same person.
Changing the actors and re-going through the lines, which, you know, that's a bigger bigger overhaul, because then we got to make sure people like it enough. It's it's got to be as good as the OG, but then adding more lines for where we need them. So that's where Zeta and Rano at, and then all the other characters, we're kind of waiting till we have kind of like enough stuff. So someone like Maple, I think at this point she's gotten enough skins now. So like going back, getting some skin lines, getting some of the characters, like you mentioned Crag as well, don't have as many lines. Crag's kind of on purpose because of who he is, but there's more actions that we record now as well. So that will be part of the pickups, certain states that we now do voice lines for. So yeah, that's where it's at. It's basically building up enough reason to go back for some of the characters, and then Zeta and Rano, it's exploring if we're going to go back or if we're going to be getting new actors for those two.
Yeah, I'm not sure if everyone's aware that that is the same actor, which is not normally that common. So yeah,
he chose his range.
But like you said, people fall in love, or they just get used to how something sounds too. So if we do change it, we have to make sure that it's really worth changing it. And yeah, I see a lot of love for Mend in the chats here when I mentioned him. I think we'd probably like to have Mend come on the dev stream too, because we're gonna like pull in different devs for stuff. So we'll get him in here this summer.
Oh, for sure.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, the funny thing we're changing too is even if we everyone on the team feels it's better, any change like that, you're going to have pushback. I remember in Rivals 1, the update, we made all the visual effects bigger, and everyone was so mad, and they were I remember I had a guy on Twitter explaining to me why I was didn't understand game design and using, I want to say that my own article against me about so the silhouettes, and I broke readability because the VFX were blocking and whatever, and I was like, oh my gosh, people are going nuts. And then I honestly, me personally, we made some minor adjustments, but we left everything as big as it was. And then now if you go watch old Rivals 1 footage, it's kind of hard to watch. It feels like it's missing feedback compared to after the visual effect update. So yeah, people get used to it, and yeah, again, it's even one that we were confident in that, it's it's gonna have pushback because everyone's so used to a certain style right now.
Yeah, and then it was weeks later, people were like, I can't imagine it ever having been any other way. You watch a VOD from someone's video or a stream, and you're like, this looks terrible. So yeah, it's hard to change anything, even if the change ends up being almost 99% of people think it's better after an adjustment period.
Someone asked about visual effects too, related to this. Are we ever going to get the flash in case the move would kill if not the eye? Yes, we have been testing it. Coconut on our team, who's made a lot of the bigger VFX, the abs down B explosion, has made one, and then we're still adjusting it. So, but it will be in the game. I don't know, probably a couple updates from now. Trevor's working with Coconut on. We'll get in the game soon.
Yeah. I see a fun one about Lena, just asking, hey, I know it was slated to be 2026 character. Are there any insights you can share about how she's coming along, i.e. how she's faring in the Rivals 2 engine, visuals, moveset? Before Dan adds any on this, since she is a unique character and we're normally pretty tight on we have the reveal planned and it's exciting and all that stuff, with Lena, everyone knows she's coming. So it's different. So Off-brand Miguel, who's helped us do some cool marketing stuff, and ourselves are planning on doing kind of a dev diary thing for Lorena, maybe where you're going to start to see stuff on her earlier, or we break down just stuff on the way to her reveal, even before her reveal trailer, since you guys know that she's already coming. So there will be some different kind of stuff we're going to show off for her. But yeah, Dan, how do you think she's coming along, just vaguely for now?
Yeah, she is actively in development. We can say that.
Okay, okay. We'll keep it tight to the chest.
I mean, yeah. I think, like
Can
George said,
confirm.
the fact that she is confirmed, yeah, I think we will do some other stuff. I don't know if we'll say like which one. There's like 4 slots for next year. Well, actually, whoops. I don't know if we've even said that. Confirmed that we're gonna do. But whoop. Okay, well, there's gonna be 4 characters again next year. Be surprised when we,
2 to 4.
officially reveal that.
That was the official. It was 2 to 4.
Oh yeah, there's 2 to 4 slots next year. I meant that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. We'll let you guys know if there's more.
Yeah, I'll let you know. And she'll be one of those. Yeah, I think we'll probably save any stuff for a behind the scenes one. So what we'll probably do is like call it out before the stream goes up if we're gonna be doing any behind the scenes Lorena stuff.
I'd love to have Mafu from our team. Brilliant artist. We had some fun, different design like iterations, bringing her to 3D. I'd love to have the original creators come on and we chat with them. I think we originally planned this, or we're thinking about it like around when we had the contest and the Kickstarter was going on though, and it was very busy. And she was like so far out. So I'd love to have them come on still and talk about just creating her, right? We have some cool stuff we can do and share with you guys. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we have Diego on our team animating Lorena, and
yeah,
that's a good fit because he played a lot of Ultimate, and I feel like and then Katie came from other games, well, you know, playing and also working, she mentioned last week, like RTSs and like other games. So I think Diego and Jamie on our team were just really excited for a grappler in general. So when she was coming down the pipe, Diego was like, give me Lorena. So it should be exciting.
Yeah. But anyway, she is excuse me, she is 2026. So yeah. Still a little bit. I'm gonna mute so I could die. Okay, voice is cleared. What other good question? I see someone said good question. I would like to know too, but I don't see the question they're referring to.
Someone's asking if we're adding customization options for accessibility outlines or improving accessibility outlines. Yeah. Corey on our team, our tech artist, is working on stuff. Now it's like we got to get just the menu equivalent of it, because once you set it up in Unreal, people can't use it until you set up menus. He did a couple things, because I basically linked him the Nult post from the last Nult board, showed it to him, and I said, here's what people are asking for, and he basically came up with what he can, and now it's up to Anita on our team to try to convert that into something that anyone can use. We did outline, can change it to any color, so I think right now we're just gonna have some presets, because otherwise it would be kind of like a chore to work with it in the in the menu if you had to be like, I'm gonna type in my color hex code, and it's just for you, right? So it's just gonna affect your build, your client. And then Corey also went ahead and did some texture stuff as well, so there's like I believe what he did is like each player will have like a different pattern, and if you turn on patterns, in that will make the outline have like a pattern built in, which again, for colorblind, but also, I mean, even if your monitor broke and it was grayscale for some reason, these textures, the pattern would help you. So that's something that has been done. The tech art side of it has been completed, and Corey showed it to me last week, and it's pretty sick. And now it's just making sure UI has time. Again, like those types of, because it's like it has to be done for each player, there is a little bit of design work that needs to be done on the UI on how you're going to let people set this in the options. But the plan is to put it in the graphics options. I think we're targeting the next update, but it might take a little bit more time depending on Anita's plate. The next update would be the mid-month for July, which is in a couple weeks.
yeah, so kind of soon, hopefully. And stuff like that too, we definitely keep looking out for your guys' feedback on, just because that's the most helpful way for us to add more of these accessibility features. It's we don't have like the bandwidth to just up front put everything in, so a lot of these are coming from requests, right? So yeah, if you want to see more that helps you play, let us know.
Yeah, and then I just saw one about when's crew battle mode. That is still planned for this year. I think even when we first talked about it last year when we did the roadmap, the end of last year, we said it was gonna be late. That's a Q4 feature. Beth on our team is working on that, and she did the new ranked mode. Also, there was some work for this ranked reset to like make sure the leaderboard and stuff captured. I think right now she's working on some improvements to the disconnect logic. There's like stuff we want to do so it just feels a little bit more natural for both you and your opponent, especially in like something like ranked, where if someone disconnects and they can get back in the match without losing the match. That's the flow we want to improve. And then yeah, her full focus will be crew battle in like a week is the plan.
Nice. I see one that's kind of relevant since the Arcane plushie just went up again yesterday and then sold out again yesterday. Mystery Soul's asking, since there's a new line going to be made for Rivals 2, the model updates, is there ever going to be a way to get the old line for collectors, such as themselves?
Great question. I would just hit up Symbiote on their socials. So right now, the way they explain to us is they like retire. They retire plushies. But what that means is like to do any plush, they have to like print, a reasonable size, right? To do an order. So a lot of characters, they would do like one big order and then they would just sell out, and whatever they, however long that took, that was the run, and then they would retire. For ones that were more popular, Orkin and Rano, Claren, a couple characters got a second run behind the scenes on Symbiote. So, you guys probably didn't even notice, but like those characters were more popular. So then they could see how it's trending and they ordered a second run. And then in their mind, after the second run, then the characters quote unquote retired. I think if there was enough demand and enough people asking, I would hope that they would be down to, unretire based on request. But right now they're working under the assumption that like the Rivals 1 like plushies are like retired, and then Rivals 2 they want to go through the roster as well. So, and they'll get updates based on any design changes that the characters had, like you saw with Orcane. And there's another character we're currently working on with them, and ideally go kind of back through the cast, and also hit the characters that didn't get a plushie, which right now would just be Loxodon because Fleet got one from Dungeons. So they'll ideally get plushies too.
Yeah, I was gonna say we wouldn't have like all of the Rivals 1 cast now, so yeah, pretty extensive collection, I guess, if you actually do own them all. Yeah. I don't have them all. I need to get some. I need to get some of the newer ones.
I think they still have one of everything. It's hard because we bring them to events, and then I could easily see myself also not having them all, as especially as Mikey and Luca start taking things out of this room.
My red Arcane though, the rare Berry Arcane run.
Do you have a golden Edalus?
I do have a golden Edalus.
That's a rare one too.
San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. Trying not to trip over the stuff in my office. Yeah.
Yo, let's go.
Gold Edalus. Why did we make this one? I forget. Was it just because they wanted to have an exclusive one? And is he based off the ranked skin? The gold skin?
I think it's based on the fact that we were already doing golden skins for when you had
for the plushes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
And I imagine his golden skin just has those colors because it makes sense.
No, it's just been so long. I couldn't remember. Yeah. Anyway, any plans for a UFA skin? I will say yes. UFA has announced that we're there. We're really excited to be doing a few more European events this year. And we're working with a couple to do the same treatment as the North American events. So yeah, we are going to have... Oh, I'm sorry. So to be more accurate, a palette, right? Like, all these events are getting palettes. So, but we will have a UFA cool colored palette.
Let's go.
Let's go. All right, I'm looking for other good questions.
Someone said, I don't like Lorena, you can tell by my face. She's not at the point where I can dislike her because I get bopped by her, but I probably will get bopped by her, especially because the person on the team I play against the most is probably Jamie, who plays Crag right now, but in traditional fighting games plays all grapplers. And I'm sure I'm gonna get worked when Lorena is is fully playable.
Yeah, no, she in general, it was a lot of fun. I think we talked about this some last year too, but it was a lot of fun reviewing everything from the contest. Like, people were so creative, and we had all kinds of people on the team like championing different characters. And yeah, Lorena is definitely beloved by the team. It's going to be really fun to see her like actually translated into a Rivals 2 character. So she's definitely going to get a lot of love, no matter if she beats Dan in brackets or not.
Maybe I'll play her. You know, become. I in traditional fighters, I don't really play grapplers too much, but in platform fighters, I tend to like the characters with good grabs. So I don't know.
Yeah, I was an Incineroar player.
Dude, Incineroar is awesome.
It's just a good character. It's a fun character. You got old-fashioned fun.
I saw someone say, "Do you remember Aetherless needs more skins?"
I was just gonna say that. Yeah,
we do. Couple things going on with Aetherless. One, he's gonna get skins. There's skins in the works. There's skins coming really soon for him. Two, part of the reason he has less is because our character art team they're too good. They go too ham. And what that means for someone like Aetherless is, with him, to even make like a rare skin, you either need to say at the beginning you're gonna go really light. You're gonna be like, everything's ice. You know, I'm just changing the character mesh. And even though the theme is a little different, like, it's just going to be ice. Which is what we should do. That's what we should be doing. But instead what happens is we're at the beginning, we're like, yeah, everything will just be ice. It's fine. And we start making the skin, and then we're like, well, I mean, it would be cool if the Ford Special was like, you know, maybe there's something in the ice. There's like, you can see something. Or maybe when you freeze them, you can, let's change that mesh to something else. You know, like the Epic Aetherless, for example, had a lot of the articles changed, the Primal Aetherless. So it's a slippery slope with him where it's like, you really do have to like be like, hey, I'm not going to change anything. Or, you know, you make an epic skin, you make a rare skin that's like a little more valued, where it changes a couple of the articles. The common skins are easier, right? Because those, you know, are just texture swaps. But yeah, it's kind of like the same problem we have with Maple. But then what we did with Maple was like, we just kind of went through and made sure we had ideas where some of them were cheap, right? Like just texture swaps on the plants for Diner Maple. And some of them were more involved, like Birder Maple. Those are like whole new meshes for all the birds. Aetherless kind of needs that same design treatment where it's like, you know, have a good idea, maybe pick one or two articles, and that's it, and go from there. But also, there are skins in the work. He's gonna get skins.
Yeah, there are some more. I will say, just to add on to this, because someone asked, like, well, why not just make them cool? It's not because we're like, hey, this has to be a certain level of, like, not as cool because we're trying to change how it fits in the shop or something like that. It's really comes down to, like, the time and the hours, right? If every single Edalus skin takes, like, multiple weeks because he has the armor and the different shaders and the articles and stuff, it's like, we'd find out a way to do ones that are cool enough that don't take that long, right? And it's kind of been harder.
Yeah, I think as time goes on, I'll have a good balance of like I said, ones that keep everything pretty close to the same and ones that update. I think right now, the ones we have in the work are like doing article updates.
They go ham, I will say, without spoiling.
We got a bug on this clan. I got to talk to Trevor. I don't have my my flash. I'm on the right build.
I see someone asking about the survey we did and if we're taking that into account. Just, if it was useful. How are we taking and acting on the feedback?
Yeah, no, it was useful. I made a note post about it. People asked if we were going to release the results. No, we're not going to release the results. We weren't planning on it. Like, the questions we asked weren't really designed in a way that we'd want to release, because is more to help us reorient our priorities and like what we're working on. Kind of some of it's confirming our suspicions or deconfirming our suspicions. And then Matt, our producer, went through all of them and made a slide presentation that shared with our whole team. So that was cool. So everyone on the team got to kind of see the answers and see what people are working with. I think for me personally, the one result that left a lasting impression was which game do you have the most time on, other than Rivals 2? Like, which game are you from? Right. Like, basically from, like, if you only we only let people pick one. We were like, which game do you have the most experience on? And I'll say it. I mean, I was surprised. Ultimate was the highest, and by a significant amount. Crushed Rivals 1, crushed Melee, crushed PM. So in like that regard, just knowing that it makes sense, right? Because like I've said it before, like Rivals 1 is 10 years old.
Yeah.
It's 10 years old now. So, a lot of platform fighter players, they're introduced by either Ultimate or maybe the end of Smash 4 into Ultimate. And then kind of from there learned other games. So part of our goal of Rivals 2 has always been like, we're trying to create a spot where like people who, no matter which platform fighter you came from, which Smash game in particular, or even Rivals, like they can all play together. And it does help us, when we're thinking of like, changes or even like controller options, right? Like right now we have the short hop, a attack thing from Ultimate that you can turn on. Like just making sure that we make that transition from Ultimate to Rivals 2 easier.
What feels natural to the biggest amount of the player base, maybe that the default isn't like serving just a really small part of the population. It's helpful for everyone.
Yeah, so I think that's a pretty big learning, and I think as time goes on, it will probably, only not necessarily like from Ultimate, but like players coming in who are either completely new to platform fighters and they want to check out the genre, or coming from Ultimate, because as much as we all hate to admit it, us Melee players and Melee fans, even the doc kids, we're getting old. Even if you like learn about Melee competitive from the doc, and everyone, the term doc kids, it's like
your time is over, old man.
The doc kids are 30. If the doc kids are 30, then what does that mean?
Just 30? Oh yeah, the doc kids you're saying. Okay.
The people who like got into Melee from the documentary, like they're all upper 20s at this point, because they watched the document 10 years ago and they were probably in high school or college then, so they're like 26 to 30. And that means I'm like 45, probably, maybe 50 years old at this point. So
Chat's saying Unk. They should be saying Gramp.
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Melee
pretty
player
soon
with a
Mikey's gonna
penchant.
be explaining to me. He's like, Dad, that's not how platform fighters work now. Be like, what do you know? What do you know about platform fighters?
But in seriousness, I can't remember exactly the number of responses we got. I do want to say it was thousands
I forget.
or close to
I know
2,000
it
or
tells
just
you
over
right at the. I can
2,000.
envision the UI for where it tells you, and I forget.
Yeah. But all I was going to say was it's just, it's great to see a bunch of people that really cared and wanted to take the time to go through the whole survey for us. And it was useful. There was a lot of questions. And like you said, we have big roadmap plans and things we want to do in this game. We don't plan on, this is like our 10-year plan. Like this game for the studio, it's just going to live as long as it is cool, the same as Rivals 1. So yeah, it's cool to see like what people want, and it really helpful. I imagine we'll do another survey. We're not going to hit them like out every month or two because they're just big and it's asking a lot of people. But I think we'll do some more as well, just to realign.
Yeah, for sure. And then I mentioned on the noteboard that if we want to release it, then we'd maybe plan from the beginning. I don't know, because again, like I think the biggest gain for us is to be able to, kind of realign. We don't want a situation where like we put out the results and then it's like, based on features. Like some of the features that we put on there they're just a huge time investment, right? So even if I don't know, to give an example, I actually forget what the results were, but we put like a smash run mode, right? And I'm sure people voted for that. But it's like, okay, we put out the results and that's number one by like, let's say that's number one by a ton. It's like 90% of people said that and everything else. And it's like other ones on there get released or made first. It's like, well, we were already working on some of these, right? Like the goal was to just kind of see what people are asking for and not necessarily like, put a situation where people are like, why aren't they doing the exact things that won the vote?
Yeah, people are weaponizing like stats, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which the stats are super useful, or the information is super useful to us, but it's similar with how things can just like get dismissed online. Like, oh, this character has X% like win rate. Like you can't complain about it. It doesn't matter, right? Like we don't want to make things just like boiled down to like black and white because there's a lot going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, I see someone said clean my room. Literally right now I'm in the midst. So I'm about to travel next week. So that's why George's taking over the stream. And last night, or 2 days ago, I've been going through the boxes and just getting stuff ready for Evo and PAX. So Symbiote sent a bunch of the Kickstarter merch, and then we have other merch that I showed you guys last week. There's skin cards. So everything's still sitting from when I packed like Evo stuff up. And you know what? I'm okay with that. This is indie game dev life. We go to events, and now my office is destroyed, and that's okay. I'll get it clean eventually. After PAX, I think after PAX, generally we sell a lot of stuff. Everything usually fits back into my closet at that point. So look at I think my office will kind of be like this until after Labor Day. And then if it's still bad in the end of September, then you can dunk on me in chat for my office being destroyed.
I have my desk raised up because it's a standing desk. So as far as I'll know my floor is clean.
That's good. Maybe I could do that. And then you can only
see,
especially if these boxes go away, you wouldn't be able to see the ground. So you wouldn't be able to see there's other boxes down here.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a good call.
Looks clean. It's great. Someone asked a random pointed question here about Clarence Tipper. You can floor hog anytime during the stun instead of just during the initial hit lag, and that got changed without a patch note earlier this year. We actually are aware of that, and Trevor's looking into it. We're seeing if it's like a knock-on effect or something else. But yeah, we're aware of that, and I just don't want to say what he's doing with it because I can't remember. But I know for sure
Yeah,
that.
we're definitely aware. I forget that was through the discussion, but again, yeah, also I forget what Trevor's landed on, so
Yeah, so I don't want to promise anything, but I think we'll probably make it might show up in a future patch note, where we might say, hey,
yeah, I think we'll at least clarify. But
yeah,
yeah, if we want it for Evo, change before Evo, then it would have to be very soon. So yeah, maybe I would just tag Trevor on Twitter and be like, Trevor, what are you doing with the Claren thing? And then he can clarify. But yeah, I remember tracking that. Luke on our team, Menace, and Trevor were having a discussion earlier this week. I want to say Monday. That's what I'm talking about.
yeah, and picking apart the stats
Trevor,
and
ignore this.
what I changed and stuff. Yeah,
And yeah, there's two sides, to the war on Claren floor hugging. I also saw someone ask about floor hugging in general. Yeah, I think right now, like, we are seeing, with auto floor hug, it's a lot more pronounced in more skill levels, which again, was part of the goal of that patch is like, hey, a lot of people who dislike it, it happens against them, and then they hate it, and then they can't time it themselves yet, so they're not using it. So it's basically only a negative mechanic from their perspective, right? It's only causing counter hits. So like, again, that was part of the goal. I think at this point it's like, yes, we're still kind of tracking what percents and how it works, whether or not like the 25% damage feels good. If we're gonna do damage, should it be higher? There's lots of levers we're looking at. I saw some people on the note board be like, okay, you tried it, you're gonna get rid of floor hugging now, right? Because like clearly it doesn't work. I don't think we're at that stage, like I think in terms of like how it there is a lot of counterplay around it, and it's more than just grab. I think a lot of people like to exaggerate the game state, but there's lots of options, right? Just like you would, why are some moves safe on shield in certain situations and some moves aren't, right? Depending on your spacing, your movement, cross up, everything like that. Floor hugging works very similar, right? Like not a lot of characters can't do their quick down tilt or whatever they're doing out of a floor hug, depending on spacing or depending on if you cross them up. So yeah, I think right now I say we're still watching it, and we're just still playing, right? I play ranked. We have people on our team who play ranked. Trevor still plays the game. We're just really seeing how it feels, and then I think there probably will be adjustments in that first patch after Evo, but right now that's how it's gonna be for this group of tournaments. We got some, as George mentioned, some tournaments coming up this summer, and we're happy with where the game is at mechanically and balance wise for those, and then any adjustments will be after Evo.
Yeah. All right, I want to say we have a 10-minute warning. This week we're just a little more shorter, just general Q&A. So yeah, get your good questions in, because we're gonna have to go offline.
Get them in. Get your questions in.
Yeah, here they come. Here they come. Oh no, all the hard-hitting questions. Okay, no, go back. My favorite character is Edalus. I'll answer the easy ones. Will the new characters be added to the title screen? That's a good one. I'm just kidding, though. We'll also answer any questions. But do we actually have... that one is interesting because that key art is beautiful. Do we have plans to add to it?
Nah, we never planned it initially, right? I feel like one of those, it's like easier if like that's the plan from the beginning, because the composition needs to be ready for it. But that could be a good idea for next year. I could see like updating the splash art to be this year's 4, and then we also design it so like there's room for next year's fork, kind of like Smash Ultimate did, where there was like room for characters to pop in
Little space.
their art. That could be really cool. I don't think we're just gonna add art like characters on that that Air Armada ship, because we could do it now, but it would really be like retrofitting, right? It's like popping their head out from behind Crag, and like you would be able to feel that it was not intended to be a bigger cast. I think, you know, but I do like that idea of like adding characters. So maybe it's like if Garrett has the availability, it's like getting a new art and then also designing that with plans that the next year's characters could join. I think that could be really cool.
Yeah.
That's how I would approach it.
Someone's been asking, when do you guys plan on adding joinable online lobbies like other fighting games? Is this something we're even thinking of doing?
You mean like you walk around like a shared thing, and then you like
I actually thought they were talking
games?
about like joining in session, which I was going to let you answer.
That is currently in the works, and some of it works. So like Tom on our team has been working on drop in, drop out. Right now there's bugs still with if you join one where the game is actively going. But I believe just joining, you know, through the...
Oh, they said yes. That is what they're asking, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah, so there are ways to join active lobbies currently, and then we're just still working through bugs before we, I don't know, fully announce in the patch notes. But I think like through Steam's, you know, join game is the main way. You can like join someone's existing lobby if they're your friend on Steam. It's like we have like some visual and some tech bugs where if you join in an active game, it doesn't look correct until the next game starts. So until we like fix those issues, we haven't I don't know, said like the feature is out. But yeah, we are actively working on that, and just improvements in general, like even like matchmaking, being able to backfill is something that Tom has been working on our team. He's like our backend / online engineer.
Features for that are in the works.
And then the bigger one of that, the Arxis kind of stuff, we don't have plans for any stuff like that, but we want to work on Rivals 2 for a really long time, so I think it would be fun to have like more online offerings, but we have like a lot of other higher priority stuff, you know, including the stuff that's on our Beyond roadmap, before we do something like go into the Rivals arcade and walk up to the Bloxodon in the corner and be like, hey, I'm gonna challenge you.
Put a coin in.
Yeah.
It's your Ether coin. Yeah. Someone's asking, can you add a type of online opponent that doesn't beat me? Ooh. Unfortunately, it's impossible to program a CPU that bad. I don't think there's anything we can do.
I mean, if it was a mobile game, we would have just created a bot that we pretended.
No, I don't think it's possible. Like in this instance, he's specifically for them. So I don't know.
Oh, for them. Oh yeah. They just wouldn't be able to win. I mean, they could beat a bot though. Dude, Marvel Snap would make me so mad, because at the beginning of the season, or if you lost, I would like lose 2 close games, and then it, like, you know, that generic icon would come up. And I'm like, man, I know this is a bot. I know they're just feeding me this. I have to play it. It's going to be stupid. We hate that. I hate that stuff. So even in Creatures, I remember I was like, no way we're going to fill with bots. So what we did in Creatures, we were like, hey, if there's not enough people playing after 30 seconds, you can just opt in. It will tell you you're playing a bot, but you can like still get experience from the match. But you have to, you know, be in queue long enough to give it a fair shot. But yeah, we would never put bots like in ranked in a game like Rivals 2, which means George might be right. There might, based on who's playing right now, we gotta get.
I was kidding, because it was kind of a joke question, but yeah,
we gotta get more features, more casually appealing features, right? As we get some of the stuff that we want in, right? Things like workshop, things like story mode. even console release. All of that stuff is going to help make the base wider and just have more people at more skill levels.
For sure. A UI question. Are there plans to add a blast zone magnifying glass? And then he said, what's Edalus doing down there? Man, I want to know. Which is a cool feature we had from Rivals 1. Are we bringing that back? Have we thought about it? Is it a technical issue?
Yeah, it's a technical issue. It's on Taz's to do, who is an engineer on our team, our most recent engineer hire. There's two. The big thing too is like not only is it on or a tech issue, we're probably also gonna have, it will be something you can turn off. So you'll have it'll probably be on by default, but you can go back to this current one just because the fact that it needs to use another camera means if you're GPU bound, it could cause performance issues for you. So we'll make sure people can turn it off. So if they're having performance issues, I think it's Taz's next up task, which means if it doesn't take too long, it could be sooner than we think. But there's always like knock-on effects to that kind of stuff. We have so many articles, so many visual effects, even something like Loxodon. I'm standing here with my or he's standing there with his magma charge. I was like, I'm not Loxodon. So like all that stuff, like making sure it works when you point the second camera at it. Yeah, it's a surprising amount of work, like which things are easy and which things are hard. But it is something we want to do because there's information we're just missing, right, from the current solution, the Rivals 1 solution. So we're working on it, but I don't know. I don't have a time estimate on when it will come out.
Yeah. You want more?
Yeah, let's do one more question.
One more to end it all. There's a lot of good options. I'll let you pick.
Yeah, I'm reading through.
It's tough. And remember, everyone, we're trying to answer these on Nolt as well. I see some asks about maybe compiling these on our Discord or something. But on Nolt, you can actually, there's a mode up top where you can hit like a roadmap on the Nolt, and it'll show like things we've answered and like how we've answered, like the different levels. That's always good. But yeah.
Yeah, I did a couple responses yesterday. I'll probably try to do a couple more this week. And then I'll be traveling the next 2 weeks, so hopefully I'll have time to do null responses, even though I'm not going to be as available to our team. Yeah, I saw one say, what core features are you looking to have in the game before console release? From I'm Home XA. That's a good question, and the biggest one is story mode, chapter 1, right? Like that to us is like the main kind of casual appealing feature that we want, because we just seen games, right, like Mortal Kombat, for example. That game is really successful. People really like it. They're happy with it, and there's a lot of people, I don't know what percents, because like I don't know their numbers, but there's a high percent of people who buy that game, play the story mode, and never hop online, and they're happy, and they give the game thumbs up, and they wait for the next one. If you were going to buy Rivals 2 and never play someone locally and never play online, it'd be very hard to have that same experience. So that's a big one. Before we do consoles, we want to make sure we have chapter 1 of story mode.
Yeah, for sure. And people are asking, like, are you thinking of these casual features and that kind of stuff? And yeah, that's exactly it. We want to make sure that there's a good experience for different types of players when we go really wide, like on console, like that.
Yeah. Cool. Well, right now it's exactly 11. I think we're gonna let everyone go. Like I said, it's a short one this time. Tune in next week. George will be hosting it. I'll be out. We'll have another developer on with George. And yeah, thanks for tuning in.
We'll have some more up. We'll do some more each week. And thanks for coming and asking your questions. Yeah.